I look like how my life has been going the last few months. I'm joking. I'm not though, but one second. Hey guys, welcome back to here's the thing. I was gonna vlog, right? But then I realized this is actually a lot longer of a story than I thought it would be, but also, let me take these out. But it's also been like 3 years, so that explains why it's a long story. So I figured I would do like a life update type video separately, and then like you'll jump into the next vlog and you'll understand what's going on in that one. But as you can see by the title, I am moving. Yes, again. Yes, I just moved last year. I was talking to somebody and they said something like they want to do something as often as I move. And I said, wait, all right, not too much on me. Okay, not too much. I mean, I know the running joke is like content creators move every 3 to 5 business days, but I have a reason. Now I'm about to tell y'all. Y'all know I moved down here 2021. Yes, I did just move last year, but I've actually lived at the same apartment complex since I moved down here. So 3 years, I've lived at the same apartment complex. I just transferred units last year, right? You know, I've gotten questions on how I feel down here. I like it down here. Y'all know I do not miss New York whatsoever, but also like I'm from Long Island. I need people to remember that when they ask me like, why don't you miss New York? Because I'm from Long Island, okay? You know, Atlanta is what it is, but I have great friends down here. My family just moved down here last year. And you know, I've got family on the other side, like all that stuff, right? I really don't have anything to complain about since living down here, except where I actually live. If you told me to describe this apartment complex, I would say nasty, okay? The hallways, we smell like piss. You know why? Because people literally let their pets use the bathroom in the hallways. We have carpeted hallways, like, and it's an indoor space. It's not one of those apartment complexes like you open your front door and there's outside. It's an enclosed space. It's carpeted. People let their pets urinate. I found poop in the hallways, vomit. For some reason, the last like month-ish, I keep finding feathers in the elevator. I'm like, do y'all also have a pet chicken? Or I don't understand like what shit, because it doesn't look like dog fur, but there's something that's been being left in the elevator, and people literally leave it, like they don't clean up after their pets. And the apartment complex itself, like they shampoo the carpets like every 6 months. I could probably count on one hand how many times it's been done since I've lived here. Keep in mind how many years I just said I've lived here. So that's one, right? They have this annoying thing where there will be just these random times where the fire alarm will go off for hours and days in a row at that. And they don't like inform you of stuff like this. Like you would think if the fire alarm has been going off since 8 a.m., like 2 days in a row, the apartment complex would be like, hey, blah, 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 blah. No, they don't really like say anything until you light a fire up their ass, like what is going on? Same thing with valet trash. It's an enclosed hallway and people will put the straight up trash in the hallway. Like I'm talking banana peels on the floor. For the most part, the people here, you know, you don't like really hear. Oh, before I even say that, let's not forget when I walked into the parking garage and there was just glass everywhere, but it was like pretty empty in the parking garage, right? So I saw my car parked all the way down there. I'm like, well, that's weird. Like I know like people go to work, but I also feel like a lot of people in this building probably work from home, because usually there are a lot of cars in the parking garage. But like when I tell you, it was literally my car and maybe 2 other ones. So I keep walking, my dumbass. I keep walking in the garage and I'm looking down and I notice glass all over the floor. And then I really look at one of the cars that's left in the garage and the whole passenger front window busted out and it's laying right on the floor. And that's when I'm like, oh, somebody hit all the cars in the garage, and that's why 1, cars aren't here, and 2, there's glass over, but they didn't touch my car. Y'all know I be driving a little Nissan, so my car be safe. They be hitting the expensive cars like the Teslas, the Mercedes. The car that the window was on the floor, that was a Lexus, so you know I was safe there. But like again, just giving you a little vibe of what we working with here. And then when it comes down to the people, I was about to say, for the most part, like the people here don't really bother you per se. Like it's not a friendly apartment complex, but like nothing for the most part really pops off here. And I'm saying for the most part because you guys are probably aware, ever since I have moved to this apartment, the people that live on the other side damn near drove me crazy in the last year. And that's one of the main reasons. I'll tell y'all like what was my final straw, but like one of the main reasons why I cannot do it anymore. And like literally earlier this year, if you guys remember, it was a vlog somewhere around the last week of January, because I remember it was my dad's birthday, where I was at my parents' house. And I'll be very honest, I've spent a majority of this year at my parents' house. Like I'll come home, I'll film, and if I have like plans or anything like that, then I'll be at my apartment. But other than that, I will go right back to my parents' house, because at least there's some type of peace of mind at their house. But basically, yeah, I moved here into this apartment last year in July. And I want to say very short. Well, before that even kicked off. Okay, Shanine from the future jumping in here because I forgot to mention before I even get into what I was about to say, I had to let you guys know that literally the day after I moved into this apartment last year, the day that I got my keys, I moved in, I'm in and out of the apartment the entire day. Keep that in mind. So the next day I wake up to some beeping sound in my apartment, and long story short, all of the apartments have, a security system, and I guess the management like didn't disarm the previous tenant's alarm system. So the next day when I left my apartment, when I came back, the alarm went off and like it just kept going off, right? So I go to the leasing office trying to figure out like, once again, are you people not the ones responsible for this situation? Like, shouldn't you be able to know how to disarm the security system? And the woman that was working in the leasing office, which is a different woman that I'm going to talk about later on in the video. So, I don't remember what I called her later on, or what I called the lady that I talked about later on in the video. I think I called her Lisa or something like that. Let's call this one, I don't know, Teresa. When I went to Teresa asking her, like, what can you do about the security system? She pretty much told me to go back to my apartment and wait for maintenance whenever they were going to come. And when I looked at her, like, she was crazy, because I'm going to put in here a clip of what the alarm system sounds like inside the apartment and in the hallway. You let me know if you would like to sit in your apartment and wait for whenever maintenance gets around to coming to disarm that. I heard like a knock at my door, right? I'm like, that's weird. I don't know anyone in this apartment complex, and it's not like people that I do know can just pop in on me because you need a key fob to get into this building, right? So I'm literally like, I don't know who would be knocking at the door, but okay, I'm gonna go check at the door. I look through the little peephole, I don't see anyone. But like further along past my door, I hear like giggling, and I'm like, oh, okay, y'all are weird over here. Okay, so shortly after that, I am sitting in this room, I'm on my bed, and on the other side of the wall, I hear arguing. It sounds like it's a man and it's a woman. Obviously, they're a couple, they're arguing like couples do, right? At least that first night, I was like, oh, okay, so like, I'm gonna hear y'all arguing. The walls are very thin. So that's the first night. Second night comes, I hear that couple arguing again. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess like whatever y'all argue about, like it's real serious, right? Third night comes, I'm like, okay, this is a little frequent, like, maybe we need to separate from each other, like a little breathing room, something. Fourth night comes, now I'm like, all right, what's going on here? Like, what did I just walk into? Fifth night, sixth night, seventh night. Y'all, I am not joking when I say for 8 months, the couple living on the other side of the wall from me argued, if not every single day, at least 5 days out of the week. And it was always, which I later found out, like it took months for me to find out, like, why is it only during these hours? But it was literally only during the hours of like midnight to 4 or 5 a.m. Sometimes, because you guys like heard me when I was filming my videos, I'd be like, if you hear arguing, it's my neighbors, like ignore that. That was very rare that they would argue during the day. For some reason, it was always between the hours of 12 a.m. to 4 a.m., 5 a.m., somewhere around there. I later found out why that was, but and it was not normal. Like, I know, yes, couples fight, but the way that they fought was not normal. And I'm not even sure how to describe it other than the fact that they fought about the same exact thing every single time. Every single time. So much so that I could repeat the argument back to you verbatim. On it. Like, let's say they were about to start arguing, like right now, I could literally tell you how it's going to go. Word for word, bar for bar. And if you're on Close Friends with Twitter Circle, when they still had Twitter Circle, you've heard it. So you know I'm not playing. And will I don't know, maybe I'll insert clips just so you can understand exactly how clear you could hear everything that was going on.
At this point, I could literally say it back to you verbatim. I could literally say to you verbatim.
But it was literally the same argument for 8 months. The same exact thing. There was a little razzle dazzle. It's not funny. It's really not funny. Sprinkled in every here and there, but for the most part, they fought about the same exact thing every single time. And also, let's not forget the little racism that was drizzled in there. I'm talking like hard ER, okay? Hard ER coming through the walls, and not a you know what lived over there. And you know, like at first I really didn't know like how to take that, because baby, what is it, I don't know nothing about that lifestyle, okay? That excuse me. So, and before anyone says like, did I say anything to the leasing office? Yes, of course I did. Did they do anything? No, of course I didn't. And I did start recording at some point, just in case, like, you know, certain hours you end up hearing the po-po, like just in case anyone needed any evidence. I did start recording. But yeah, that I was really conflicted because, you know, you don't necessarily want to sit around and do nothing, but you also know in certain situations you need to mind your business, but you're also in a situation where they are racist, and you know, you live in an area where if you know, you know, and it's starting to affect your own life and you don't even have anything to do with it. Like I said, I have to apologize in videos if you hear damn near crackheads arguing through the through the wall. You know, and like I said, they only argue during hours where most normal people are sleeping. So I kid you not, I've literally woken up out of my sleep from the sound of them arguing. And it's not just like verbally arguing, if you catch my drift. So that went on for literally months, and it just got worse and worse. And like I said, I vlogged earlier this year when I was at my parents' house, because like I just couldn't take it anymore. Like I'm literally in my head thinking, what am I gonna do? Because I know I can't stay here. Like we can't both. This place isn't big enough for both of us. Okay. You know, my mom has been telling me to move back home ever since they moved down here. You know, she's like, you know, we got a room. Like, it's fully furnished. You could put your stuff in storage. You could blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not doing that. Then it was like, you know, well, your lease will be ending at some point. So like, what are you going to do? I've thought of, you know, purchasing a home. But again, like this situation has literally drove me insane. I'm not even playing. So like and you know, I don't really have anyone to blame but myself, because I knew I shouldn't have signed the lease to stay here last year. But I did. Just because it was easier, to be honest. I guess I was comfortable. It was easier to just kind of move upstairs as opposed to hiring movers and really having to like pack up, because I was literally just carrying stuff up the stairs, up the elevator. to pack everything up, all of that stuff, and find a new place and kind of get accustomed to a new place. So that was really my fault for staying here, because like, since when have you just kind of said, okay, I'll just go with whatever's easier? Because, you know, when I moved down here, I moved down here by myself. Yes, I do have family that lives, but they still live like almost an hour away. I pretty much moved down here myself, left my friends, all of that in New York, and like, you thrived. So at what point did you become like comfortable with doing what's easy? And that's something I had to realize, you know, especially after everything that has happened at this point. But at that point, I'm thinking, what am I gonna do? That is when I started spending a lot more time at my parents' house. And it really got bad. Like, my real like breaking point with this situation, not breaking point with like me living here, my breaking point with this situation, where it was like, literally something has to give between me staying here and them staying here. It is around the week of my birthday. Y'all know I went to Arizona, so I had like some type of peace for those few days that I was gone. Then I came back and it was literally right back to the same thing. I'm sitting on my bed, they start arguing again. I'm thinking, okay, here we go, round, I don't know, 957 at this point. But at some point in the argument, he says to her, why don't you just pick up the pew pew that is here and end it, because no one would miss you. Again, just a very dark situation. Just, you know, again, you're like, you don't really know what to do, but also like, you know, you're dealing with people who like don't like you simply for the way that you look. Because some of those ERs, oddly enough, some of those ERs were directed at her, even though she is not a ER. And then some of those ERs, I am fully aware of who they were directed to, because I knew that they knew. I could hear them through the hallway. Every time, any of the few times that we did pass each other in the hallways, if they were talking, they would immediately stop talking. Like, once they realized they were in the hallway with me, but like immediately stop talking, but still stare at me. Just very uncomfortable situation. But yeah, so those were like the type of dark type of things that they would say to each other. But that night when he said that, I got very scared. I'm not even gonna lie, because our walls touch. If our walls are so thin and so close that I could hear everything that they're saying like that, when he said that, I don't even know if it's like being dramatic, but it was like, baby, I'm not gonna sit here and wait until anything were to come flying through the walls, because she gave that type of unstable where she would follow through with it. So I very much so picked up my blanket, and I literally was sleeping on my couch for like a week. You know, like, there was the bedroom in between that, there's the kitchen, there's a lot of things for bullets to fly through, if God forbid, if they did, right? So I'm literally sleeping on my couch as I turn 30. And I'm like, this can't be life. Like, this can't be real life. I am at my breaking point at this point. If you guys remember, or if you were on TikTok, then that Friday, so my birthday was like Wednesday, no. Yeah, my birthday was like Wednesday, something like that. But I was going to my little cousin's first birthday party on Saturday. So Friday, I was like, let me go. I made a pickup order at Target for his gift. So I was like, let me go to Target real quick. I'll pick up his gift. If you guys follow me on TikTok, then you know, once I got there, I literally parked the car, went inside. This was literally no more than like 7 minutes. I come back outside. My car will not start. It's a very long story. The kill switch on a car that I owned out, was activated on the car. Y'all know what happened with that story. But in that moment, I am losing my mind from where I live. And on top of that, I am now sitting in this car in a Target parking lot, waiting for roadside assistance. Y'all know I don't even like driving. And that was literally probably one of like the darkest days that I have had in years. I'm talking 2015-ish, probably 2015-ish. That was probably one of the darkest days that I've had, because I'm really not the person who like, how could it get any worse? Or, you know, like, what else do I have to go through? You know, like those just type of, you kind of feel defeated type thoughts that you're having, I don't have those often. That's why like I'm usually quick to like let things go, because I, for the most part, feel like life works out for me, and like, okay, it's bad, but it can't get any worse, right? Like, it'll get better. It always kind of works out for me. That was not me that day. And I am getting a little emotional thinking about it, because like I said, it doesn't happen to me often. But that day, I was literally holding it in the car, because I knew like roadside assistance was coming, and I don't like crying in front of people. So roadside assistance comes, they cannot do anything, because it's literally like a whole kill switch type of situation with the car. And it's like, okay, yeah, I could sit here and I could keep feeling sorry for myself, but like at some point I'm gonna have to go home. So I Uber home, and I'm walking up, I'm turning the hallway to get to my apartment, and it's I can laugh now. I can laugh now, but you will never believe what I see when I turn the corner. And I'm telling you that I just said this is probably one of the darkest days that I have had. I am in one of those moments where I'm feeling like, how could life get any worse right now? I turn the corner and I see Miss Mama's moving her stuff out. And it turns out that they're actually both moving their stuff out. And when I tell you, I walked into my apartment and I just burst into tears. And I'm pretty sure they were happy tears. But I'm pretty sure it was like see, this is why I don't like go around kind of like feeling sorry for myself, or having like what else could happen to me, stuff like that, blah, 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 blah. I mean, God do be playing with me. I want to know what that's about. But, he be testing me. I definitely did not sign up for one of the strongest warriors this year. But like I said, it usually almost always works out for me, because losing my mind trying to figure out what is going on with this car, but come home and find that literally one of the biggest problems that I had in life right now is leaving. Then mind you, they literally fought out the door, like through moving. They were still fighting. I don't know what happened to them. They're probably still together, to be quite honest, because when he told her what she should do with that's in their home, like a couple minutes later, he said something like, why are you still here, or something like that. And she said, because I love you. So it was one of those situations where it's like, you can't, you know what they say about addiction, like you can't force someone to stop, like they have to be ready to stop. The same thing is true about certain type of relationships. You can't convince someone to leave who is not ready to leave, and Miss Mama was not ready to leave. So to this day, she is probably still with him. Racism and stuff like that aside, I don't think anyone needs to be in a relationship like that. So I do hope at some point she realizes you don't need to let anyone talk to you like that, and she does exit the situation. But I was done with the situation. So my biggest problem is gone. Like, life should be sweet. And I kind of fell into that type of thinking, where what I'm going to do once my lease is up, like kind of like fell to the back of my mind, to be completely honest. Stop thinking about that. Again, being okay with being comfortable, like I don't like that. But my final straw, where I was like, y'all can keep this, because there's one thing I have learned as I get older, and you noticed if you followed what happened with the car on TikTok. My motto getting older is, y'all can keep this. Okay, if it starts to irritate me, if I start to any of that, you can keep it, because you know what, it's gonna work itself out. My final straw, so I ordered something, right, and it said it was supposed to deliver on a Monday. So I went to my parents' house for the weekend. I came back on that Monday, and it's like Monday night, and I realized, oh, that package said it was supposed to like deliver today. So I go look at like tracking info, stuff like that. It says it was delivered Saturday. I didn't get like any notification, because there's a locker system, that Luxor locker system here. I'm like, I didn't get a notification for that. So it's Monday night at this point. Mind you, I go to the mailroom like twice to check, because maybe I didn't get a notification because like they just left the package there or something like that. But no package. So I'm like, okay, like in my mind, no big deal. Like tomorrow, Tuesday, I'll go to the leasing office, see if anyone tried to like drop off a package, or just let them know like, hey, like I didn't get a notification, like can you open up the lockers so I can get the package. So the next day I head to the leasing office like almost as soon as it opens, and I'm like, so here's one of the things that irritates me. I should also mention, now it wasn't necessarily something that turned me off about the building, because I'd never really dealt with leasing, but I have literally lived here longer than anyone's worked here. Maintenance, is the only one that comes close to working here as long, but like I still lived here a good, I don't know, maybe 7-ish type months before the maintenance that currently works here started working here. So that's how like big their turnover is on employees. So the management that's currently working there right now literally has only been working there since February, because the one person in leasing that I actually did talk to, she left like I think January 29th or 30th, something like that was her last day, and then there was new management like in February. Keep that in mind. So I go to the leasing office and I start walking in. She stops me. She's like, "Hey, can I help you?" And I start to say, I'm looking for a package. I was wondering if someone came to the leasing office. She cuts me off and she's like, no. We don't accept packages here in the leasing office. I'm like, okay, that's not what I was gonna say. What I was gonna say is, did anyone come to the leasing office trying to drop off a package in the mailroom? Because y'all know nowadays it's not just like Amazon, UPS, USPS, like these like delivery companies are having people deliver packages in their private cars, stuff like that. So those people, they're not gonna have access to get into the mailroom. So a lot of times they'll like go through the leasing, and leasing will tell them, you can go to the mailroom that way, stuff like that. That's what I was trying to ask, because it shows that it was delivered, it was put in the mailroom, stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't one of those where like they actually take a picture of where it was left, right? So I'm like, is it possible for you to like open the lockers? Because I didn't get a notification that it was delivered, but it's being marked as delivered. Mind you, I literally contacted UPS and they're like, no, it was delivered such and such day, blah, 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 blah. And mind you, I've lived here for 3 years and I cannot tell you how much mail I've lost in that time, because I don't know when brands are going to send packages. With PR packages, stuff like that, it just ends up being here. So in the past, like what has happened, the package will stay in the locker so long because I don't know that it was delivered, and I never got a code to open up the lockers, that it'll be there so long they end up just taking it out of the locker and putting it on the counter. And that's how I end up finding out that I had mail. And sometimes they don't even do that. I don't know what they do with the packages after that point. But like, it's been years of having to deal with this, so you're not gonna make me feel like I'm crazy and that what I'm saying has never happened. So I was like, can you open up the lockers and like check for the package, because like it's saying it's delivered. She's like, no, we don't do that. I'm like, that's weird. Do you mean like we don't do that anymore? And she's like, no, we never did that. All right, now you can tell me that you don't do that anymore because you're a new management company. Like maybe you decided you're not going to do that anymore, but you're not going to tell me that you never did that. Like you see what I'm saying? Like I've lived here for 3 years. I've gone through several management companies and they all did that. And to prove that I am not crazy, after this, what happened with the leasing office, I saw maintenance in the hallway. Remember I said maintenance is the only one who's almost worked here as long as I've lived here. I was like, hey, I have a package that's stuck in one of the lockers and there's no code. Do you know what I can do about that? And he said, you can literally just go to the leasing office and they'll open up the lockers for you. I was like, yeah, that's what I thought that they do, but she said that they don't do that. And he was like, oh, maybe they don't do that anymore. That's my thing. You can just say like, you don't do that anymore, but don't argue with me that you've never done that, because what are you talking about? Like your own employees. And mind you, I went back and I was like, even maintenance said that. She's like, I don't know why maintenance would say that to you. Like they're just maintenance. They don't work in the leasing office. They wouldn't know. Girl, okay. So we are literally going back and forth because she will not open up the locker to give me my mail. Now remember, she said they don't do that, right? She said they don't do that here. But then like later on in the conversation, she goes, oh, well, we open up the lockers on Fridays, so you can wait till Friday. Tell me that makes sense. You pay to live here. You have mail. Mind you, this is a Tuesday that we're having this conversation. And they tell you, you have to wait for your mail until Friday. So I started throwing out scenarios, like let's say, you're a single mom, you need Pampers for your kid, you realize that you're on your last one that night, so you Amazon Prime diapers to be delivered the next morning. You're thinking, okay, you're just gonna go get your diapers in the locker, you don't get a code for it, but it's been delivered, and then they tell you you gotta wait 3 days for you to get diapers to put your kid in. If it was that easy for you that you could have just gone to Walmart to go get the diapers, you would have done that. But you had it delivered for a reason. So it would be delivered that next morning. And then they're telling you gotta wait. So I'm like, so if someone had medication in their locker, they need to wait until Friday. When I tell you, she goes, yes. Like literally happily, yes, they need to wait until Friday. But she also just told me that y'all don't do that. So then I was like, so if that was medication someone could die from, they need to wait until Friday? I want you to say yes with your chest. Say yes with your chest the way you just did. But she knows, like you can see it literally playing out in her mind how big of an asshole she would sound like if she said yes, you need to wait days for medication that you could die if you don't take. So she goes, I'm not gonna argue hypotheticals with you, blah 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 blah. I'm like, but you just were. You were just doing that though. But and she's like, I don't know what you want from me. There's nothing else I can do for you. So at some point I'm like, okay, but wouldn't that be your responsibility? Again, cuts me off and goes, no. We're not responsible for your lost packages. That's in your lease when you sign your contract. We're not responsible for that. I was like, that's not what I was going to say. If I could have finished my full sentence without being cut off, I was going to say, wouldn't that be your responsibility to help a tenant get their package out of a locker if you're the only one besides the delivery people who have access to the lockers? So at this point, we're going back and forth. And again, with the whole, like, you can keep it. If I ever get to a point where I'm in my head considering putting my hands on you, I know it's time for me to walk away from the situation because, you know, like, So in my mind, I'm like, you know what? Don't even worry about it. Did I get my pack? No, I didn't. But you know what I did? I went home that Tuesday and I found the place that I was going to move to. That was literally my final straw here. On top of everything else that I have dealt with living at this apartment complex, incompetent management, just disrespectful and rude management on top of that, absolutely not. Suck a dick. Y'all can keep this. My camera overheated. I don't remember what I was saying. So yeah, that's how life has been for the last year-ish. You know I don't check in very often with life updates, but you know, I don't know if it's that air sign in me, but like I choose to go through the struggle. I choose to go through the struggle alone. I don't like talking about that. And also I'm just very much like if my mood isn't feeling it, I would rather just kind of like isolate from the world in general, which is also why, you know, like posting hasn't been the same, and you know, all of that stuff as well. So I am excited, you know, I'm excited for where I'm going. All I can do is hope for the best. You know, I did actually learn last year that throughout, you know, this move and stuff like that, that I do like home decor and home decor content. So that will be coming. I'm excited for that. And yeah, you know, I'll be vlogging the process. You know, I will try to check in more and keep you guys updated on what is going on. But for now, that is it for this video. That's my little life update, letting you guys know that a move will be coming up in my content soon. And yeah. All right, y'all, so that is it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.